Hello and welcome to the Creative Devices Podcast, a podcast designed for creative devices users to tell their story and to help bring even more creative awareness to the world. Today we're joined by the one and only 30killabeatz. How's it going, brother?
Going good, man. It's going good in yourself.
Good. Out here on this Sunday morning, it's raining. I had one heck of a night last night, man. And
Man,
I had to wake up early. I had an in-person meeting at 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking I got to make sure I'm done in enough time, for us. But
yeah,
I'm here, brother. That's it.
it's raining pretty bad out here too. I think we're in the same time zone, but it's been windy all night, and yeah, it's pretty bad
Yeah.
weather all night. So
Well, hopefully it's not going to be a storm.
yeah, for real.
Yeah. So you were saying, man, I saw your post earlier. You were talking about you had a nightmare. What was that about?
Man, just imagine, you know, say like you got a big promotion or something, you go to this event with your family, everything's good, you're having a great time. Next thing you know, your daughter comes up missing. You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, you thinking she's with her mom, she's playing with her mom, but her mom's already having a good time minding her own business. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, uh, it turns into something else where like you're trying to find your daughter, but uh, you kind of freak out a little bit, like, yo, what's going on? This is my kid, you know what I'm saying? And you start tearing things up, like, yo, like where's my daughter? And then next thing you know, like people like tripping, like, yo, chill out, chill a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, they trying to calm you down, but really they going overboard too, like. Um, Trying to attack you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to run and get out that situation. Like, okay, what's going on? Like, but I
Yeah.
don't. After that, I got a whole nother other plan of like what goes on after that. Like, but it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. But I plan on I wrote everything down. What kind of happened, and I kind of want to turn it into a movie. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets kind of wild, like what happens after that whole event. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy. It sounds like there's a whole lot more to the story that
yeah,
we just can't get. I'm sure it's going to come back to you because you know how it is. You have dreams and sometimes you don't remember all the details, but when you remember all the details, that was a serious dream. If you
yeah,
can write it down, put it in a voice recorder or something, as much
yeah,
information as you can remember.
yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I remember pretty much almost everything. It's just that now I gotta finish how to like end it all up. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Right,
ending
right.
part. I gotta perfect that part. But yeah, man, I'm already scouting locations. I found a good little area nearby where it has like a water fountain and a driveway that has like a circle around it. Like it's a big house. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna rent it out and do what I gotta do. But I need actors and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm a go getter when it comes to like when I say I'm gonna do something. You know what I'm saying? That's how I am. Like yeah, I already got a cinematographer who's my friend. I'm gonna let him know about this. We're gonna try to work together, and yeah, yes sir,
Listen, man, I'm looking forward to it.
yes
And you got
sir,
to be a go-getter in this day and age. You know what I mean? You
man,
can't be
listen,
stagnant. If you want something, you got to go get it. Like
def- definitely,
we're both creators. We started with ideas and we turned our ideas into something. That's what you got
def-
to do. You
definitely,
know?
yes
Yeah,
sir,
man. So speaking of which, tell us about yourself. Who you are, what you do, how you got started, all that.
man. Honestly, I'm a military brat, so like went to elementary school in Germany, and after school I had to go to like the what is it called, the YMCA or something like that. And
Mm.
that's when they had like a bunch of toys and game rooms and stuff like that, but they also had like a piano. And for some reason, like that was my thing. I would go to the piano and be playing songs and stuff like that, and I didn't even know what I was playing. But one of the teachers would come up to me and be like, you're playing what is it called? Like some random song name that I've never heard of. And I was like, oh, okay, I've never heard of that song, but I'm just playing around on the piano. And then that turned into me like being one of those kids that go into like in front of the whole school playing Beethoven and stuff like that. And I've always just been a music person ever since elementary. Yeah, that's pretty much
Okay.
the story.
So you can play some Beethoven, huh?
Yeah, I can play a little bit of Beethoven, but growing up, I kind of like I took my like piano skills more into producing instead of like playing live. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay, okay.
yeah,
But piano skills help as a producer because it
definitely,
allows you to be able to play anything.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. When I growing up, my mom had got me a piano for Christmas, and I had one of those like 3D players, MP3 players where it's like a where you just how do I see this? Where at the end of it, it's like a USB drive, and you just plug it into a computer, and you just
Mm.
upload songs into it and stuff like that. And it also had like a recorder on there. So what I would do is like I'll play stuff on the piano while I'm recording, and then play that on some speakers, and then go back on the piano and pull up some drums, and then play drums towards that while it's playing. And I guess I was producing at a young age the whole time, but I didn't even know it. And yeah, that's how it really started. Sure.
Yeah. There's nothing like that tactile feel of hitting keys and stuff like that. I've tried making beats solely on the computer, just using a mouse and clicking different stuff like in Fruity Loops and stuff like that. I mean, back in the day, that's all I had. Um, when it came out, like if I couldn't have an actual keyboard, because keyboards were expensive back then. They're expensive now, but they were even more expensive back then. I think
Yeah.
the first keyboard I actually bought was one of the Roland Phantom keyboards. It was the Phantom X6.
Mm.
That was the first keyboard I bought, and that thing was like, I don't know, 2,200 or something like that.
Yeah.
Plus the expansion packs and the board, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a lot, man. But they're a bit more reasonably priced today, but they're still pretty up there. Depending on which one you want and stuff like that. But it definitely made a difference using the keyboard. Like you got more into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not everyone can get a keyboard, so you got to do what you can do. If you got to use a mouse and or a trackpad on a laptop, or if you can get your hands on a MIDI controller, you work with what you have.
Yeah. That's pretty much my approach when I first started, just using what I had at the time and you doing that.
Yeah. So what were you recording with? What DAW were you using? You had a desktop, a laptop. What were you using back in the day?
So when I first started, just that MP3 player that can record, you know what I'm saying? That's what I started with just using that. And then after I got into high school, I heard about FL Studio, and then I started messing around with that, um, only for making beats. And I started recording vocals with Audacity. You know what I'm saying? And that was terrible. And then I moved on up to Pro Tools, and that was my next step, and really just trying to figure out, how could I get that quality that the pros are using. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Okay. So you're a Pro Tools user.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of rap these days with a lot of people saying it's terrible, it's not the industry standard. Yeah, and I honestly I agree. If everyone's using FL Studios today, Regardless if the industry is big or small, in my opinion, that's the industry. You know what I'm saying? And you can look it up. There are a million people, searching up FL Studios versus like with Pro Tools. It's like I think like 20 or 30,000. But regardless, if a small section of people are using a program versus the majority, you got to say the majority is the industry. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
I like the fact that there are multiple DAWs out there. Everyone can choose one that works
Definitely.
best for them. I want something that looks good visually and also is very easy to use. I think the easy to use is more important than how it looks, but it's a plus if it also looks good. I've I've dealt with Pro Tools. It's probably my least favorite DAW, if I'm honest. Um, I, I've tried it several times, honestly,
Yeah.
and I've been in situations where I've helped friends record at their studio. I just happen to go there just to hang out with them, and I'm helping them record, and I got to use Pro Tools, and yeah, it's not for me. It's not for me. I've
Wh-
tried, huh?
what's the hard thing about it?
I think you just have to do too many things. There's too many. You have to jump over too many hoops. Like you have to go through different menus for different things. Where other DAWs, everything is right there in front of you, or a right click away. With Pro Tools, you got to go here, and then you got to go there. You got to go there, or you got to learn all these key commands. I think for anyone who's starting out who doesn't know, Pro Tools is not an easy DAW to learn.
Yeah.
I think there are much easier DAWs to learn when you're starting out. Now, if you spend enough time learning anything, you're going to be proficient at it, right?
Sure.
Including
Sure.
Pro Tools, obviously. But starting out, I wouldn't recommend anyone jump into Pro Tools.
Yeah.
When I started with Cakewalk, Sonar.
Mm, okay.
It was Sonar 2.2 XL or something like that. Is
Mm,
what I could get my hands on at the time. I installed it. I didn't know anything about using a DAW. It was fairly simple. With no
yeah.
instructions, I could figure out what to do, and it worked. It sounded good. We were able to record, do some little mixing, use some T-Racks for some little mastering, and called it a day. I
Yeah.
went from, Sonar. I tried all different types of DAWs. I tried Reason. I tried Cubase. I tried Pro Tools. Uh, Even went to Mac and tried Logic, and I tried everything, right?
Yeah.
And I've tried almost everything more than once, and I always found my way back to Sonar somehow. It just not just because it's what I started with, but it just seems like it's the easiest to use. Like if you don't know anything and you put anyone in front of a DAW that they've never used before,
Mm-hmm.
everything is right there in front of you or a right click away. It's just, I think the ease of use for me is what just kept bringing me back, and it's what helped me to recommend it to other people. Now, obviously, if you're using a Mac, there is no Sonar. Well, they started making one, but then I think at that time, a lot of people started using their Macs and putting Windows on it to run FL Studio. And they were like, well, if a lot of people were doing that, and a lot of people also would run Sonar on the Mac or on Windows, so they said, well, why are we going to do that? We might as well just, keep it Windows.
Yeah.
Not to mention they went through a whole bunch of different things where they were bought out by Roland and then Gibson and whatever. But Studio One, if I have to choose what I think is the best bi-platform DAW, Studio One, in my opinion,
I
is
agree.
is the best. Yeah,
I agree.
hands down.
I've used Studio One before. The most DAW I would probably say is the hardest to learn, in my opinion, is Logic. That right there, like I opened that up and I felt confused as hell. Like some people may feel like you said Pro Tools was like confusing. That's how I felt about Logic.
Yeah,
I just couldn't get into it. It's just I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, Studio One definitely is something I would definitely recommend to someone who is just starting out. It almost pretty much has all the same effects and things you could do as far as Pro Tools. maybe even a little bit more. You can make beats in there as well. I've done that
Mm.
myself, and I don't know how I ended up back on Pro Tools, but yeah, Studio One is definitely legit. Sure.
So I saw that you were giving away your Razer laptop.
Yep.
How long were you using that for?
Honestly, I need to go ahead and give that away in my next video, so that should be coming soon. Because I need to go ahead and start on the next giveaway after that, which is the
Mm.
Creative Devices, and give that away too as well. And that one I want to probably wait until the next 2 months before I really announce the giveaway winner for that one. So keep
Okay.
that one going. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. So I know Razer. They make good stuff. They're probably the more high-end Windows laptop company, right? Kind of like the Apple of Windows, basically.
Yeah.
Between them and Dell, they. Uh, so I'm just curious. What was your experience like going from a Razer to using one of our devices?
Um, I would say my first experience. I had bought one like many years ago. I think 2018. I had picked up the 18 version, and then it was great. But I had spilled some beer on it in the studio, and then and then that stopped working. So then I had got the version that I got now, which I'm giving away. That one was great, except for I had an issue with the battery, like expanding and stuff like that. So I had took the battery out, and it was slowing down on me. I figured that the issue on the reason why it was slowing down on me is because of the it was dusty inside basically, and the fans couldn't operate at full capacity. So I didn't know that at the time, but at that time when it slowed down, I just ended up getting the Mac, and then and ever since then I barely used that one. But when I switched over to the Creative Devices, I definitely noticed that it was pretty much honestly it was faster than my Razor Blade. And the great thing about Creative Devices is that it's not as expensive as a Razor Blade, and you can either get the same performance or better, and at a better price. So that was a shocking thing for me when I first used the Creative Devices, and knowing that I could pretty much do all the power intensive stuff, like using high intensive DSPs and stuff like that, like Omnisphere, and it pretty much moves very fast. What's the word that I'm looking for? It doesn't slow down, when I'm using it, and it pretty much does everything I need it to. So
That's awesome.
yes,
Well,
sir.
yeah, I heard, from someone that they put a lot of effort into those devices. So,
Yeah, it's it. What do you say?
No, no, no. I was being silly, obviously. I said I heard from someone that they put a lot of effort into those devices.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Both of my Razer laptops that I had, they both had that same battery issue where it kept expanding. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I wish they put more time into that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you don't mind, how much was the Razer laptop? I'm just curious.
So so that's crazy because the first one that I bought was like $2,600,
Mm.
and I mean I saved like a month or two for that. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
the second one, I think I spent like about 27 on that one, and yeah, and now I'm in the predicament that I'm in now. I just want to get rid of it.
So, what was the specs on that Razer?
I say the specs on it was I had a terabyte of memory, um, or SSD, and I had 16 gigabytes of RAM. And I think the graphics was a 970 GTX.
Okay.
Yeah.
almost $3,000 is kind of tough.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's, when you're starting out, it's kind of hard to just dish out that kind of money on one thing, you know?
Yeah, it took me at the time I think I was just doing Uber, and like I said, it took me like 2 or 3 months just to save up for that, and and then I had bills on top of that too, and yeah.
Well,
Yeah, man.
in your honest opinion,
Mhm.
would you recommend the Creative Devices machine to anyone, and why?
Definitely, I would definitely recommend it because, for one, you have all the ports that you need on it. Like on my other laptops, my other Windows laptops, I didn't have like Ethernet and stuff on there. Um, with the Creative Devices, you have like I think like 3 or 4 USB-A ports, which is super useful in the music world. Because all of the devices still like use USB-A. Um, and you have a really versatile USB-C port that you can pretty much use for almost anything, which I personally use for my MIDI keyboard, so I get the fastest and most responsive um, uh, response. Period. And it's been pretty fast for me as far as doing work and all that kind of stuff. It does everything I need to do. And I haven't had any issues as far as using it. And yeah, it's been great.
Awesome. All right. So, your whole 30 killabeatz, your YouTube channel, your producer, you're an artist as well. Everything. What drives you? What motivates you to do all of this and to continue doing it?
Honestly, I think it's just who I am because even before like doing this channel on YouTube, like I was always making videos on YouTube, like just on various different channels, and not because I wanted to be a YouTuber, it's just because that's just what I wanted to do. I just wanted to create videos. I just wanted to make music, and now like when I'm at a point where I'm older, it's just like why shy away from that? Why push that away? I might as well lean all the way into it if I keep doing it or keep wanting to do it. So that's just my mindset. Like if you really want to do something or you find yourself feeling comfortable when you're doing something, you might as well do that and find other ways to get that to be what provides for you. Especially if that's what makes you comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
that's my thought
Okay.
process on that.
And where do you see yourself in your project in the next 5 years?
Honestly, um, I see myself taking on new projects, like getting into film, like movies, uh, getting into other things like live streaming and doing basically just creating just more content. Honestly, I feel most comfortable with just creating some type of content where whether it's just music or music videos, or not even just for myself. You know what I'm saying? I like offering services to people. Where I can help other people and just help them take it to the next level.
Okay.
Yeah,
Definitely looking forward to the next 5 years, man. You're killing it with the YouTube videos, man. I was
thank you,
watching your stuff, reading the comments. People love it, and that's how I found you, from watching your videos. I was like, this guy's good, you
thank you,
know.
thank you. What what
Yeah.
what, what started Creative Devices?
What started Creative Devices? It's basically what started from an idea, just like with music, right? You have an idea, there's something in your mind you want to get out. You just have to figure out a way to get it out. And that's what happened with Creative Devices. I wanted to be able to build a desktop replacement laptop for
Mhm.
audio. It started with audio because, I'm a musician and a producer. and I wanted something that could replace a desktop that I could take anywhere in the world with me. Because I've had situations where I had to go here and record a band, and I got to wait until I come back to the studio to really work on it, like to mix it and all that stuff. And I didn't want to have to do that, because let's say I got to fly out to LA or I fly out to Japan or something. I want to be able to work there, and I don't want to be stuck having to use someone else's system or lug a tower around with me. You know what I mean? I didn't want to do that. So the only thing I could think of was a powerful laptop. And at the time, the most powerful laptops were gaming laptops.
Yeah.
But now you're going to spend all this extra money, literally hundreds of dollars extra for a GPU that you don't need. And in a lot of cases, especially with the earlier laptops, even desktops, GPU drivers would always create issues with other stuff in the system. And when you build your own laptop, you have to make sure that you use compatible hardware, because you can just buy anything and put it together, but everything is not going to play well together.
Yeah.
So I figured there has to be a way to build a laptop the same way I would build a desktop, to make sure that we're using compatible components to not have issues. And from my searches and findings, and I was somehow able to create Kreative Devices. Obviously, I had some help. I was lucky enough to talk to some people who loved what I wanted to do. No one else was really focused on the creative space. You have all these companies making all these gaming laptops, but how much gaming are you really going to do? There's a lot more people out there that want to create, but they can't afford to spend $3,000 on a laptop from any brand, whoever it is, right? So, and I know that it doesn't cost that much. So if we can get you something just as powerful for half the price, or sometimes even more, let's make it happen. And that was the goal.
And I agree, man. I think having that choice for creators to get started at a much more affordable price, that's something that I wish back then that I could have done. Instead of spending like almost $3,000 on a laptop. I wish Kreative Devices was around where I could have spent half that and got started and had money on the side for other things. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I really support Kreative Devices, because I really agree with their mission and what they're trying to do. So
thank you. And you know what the crazy thing is? If you take our most expensive laptop and you max it out, it's not even $2,000.
Yes. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And I'm thinking about the configuration that you said. It was like, you said 1 terabyte and 64 gigs of RAM or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's nothing.
Yeah.
You could get a 14-inch or 16-inch notebook from us with that configuration for just over $1,000.
Yeah. It's crazy what's going on. And one thing I wanted to ask you too as well is like, will Thunderbolt ever come into Kreative Devices?
Everyone wants to know about Thunderbolt. So the thing about Thunderbolt is it's only useful for transferring large amounts of data, right? If you have really big video files or really big any type of files and you want to transfer them quickly, that's what Thunderbolt is good for.
Yeah.
It has no significance when it comes to audio. A lot of people have this misconception, and I know where it comes from. It's all marketing, right? They want you to believe that Thunderbolt is great for audio, and it's not bad for audio. It is good, but it doesn't make the difference that you think it does. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the blog that's on the Kreative Devices website, I pretty much explain the whole Thunderbolt thing. Now, Thunderbolt is expensive. It was originally designed by Intel and Apple to work for Apple devices. Intel has since made Windows-compatible devices. Most of them that are made by other manufacturers are not very good. And the ones that are very good, well, I wouldn't say very good, the ones that are good for Windows are expensive. It doesn't seem like it's worth the cost for a few seconds extra to a minute extra of your time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you have Type C or USB 3.2, that's fast. And on the front of the Mini, you've got a USB 4. It's even faster. That's the same as Thunderbolt. So technically, you don't need it if you're reaching those speeds.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going to pay all that extra money? You're going to pay all that extra money to have it in a laptop. Then you're going to pay extra money to buy a Thunderbolt device. The whole point is price per performance.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense too, as far as like what Creative Devices is doing. It explains a lot for sure. And the only reason why I asked is because I use different interfaces like Universal Audio, and they're Thunderbolt 3, so that's why.
No, I listen. I get it. A lot of people use these, and a lot of people bought it because they bought into the whole Thunderbolt propaganda stuff, or they were using a Mac and then they switched over because for whatever reason. The majority of Thunderbolt interfaces has a USB counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of silly to think about not buying a computer that doesn't have Thunderbolt instead of just replacing a less expensive interface for the same one that has USB.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or if you have like some interfaces, like I have an Antelope, you can use the same connection for USB or Thunderbolt.
Mm-hmm.
So if your device can do both, great. If not, you have to decide, do I want to buy a computer based on Thunderbolt, or do I want to get the best computer I could get for the price, and I can use the same interface, just get a USB version?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think you on that blog that you mentioned, you said that I think they were almost like the same exact speed with USB-C and Thunderbolt. I think.
So 3.2, the speed for that, and so there's different levels of Thunderbolt, right? You have Thunderbolt, Thunderbolt 2, Thunderbolt 3. Thunderbolt 3 and 4 are the same speed. It's just something else is different, right?
Yeah.
Thunderbolt 3 and 4 is the same speed as USB 4.
Mm.
Thunderbolt 2 is the same speed as USB-C or 3.2, right? And then so on and so forth. So FireWire was a big thing because it was faster, it had a faster transfer rate than USB 2.0. So if you're transferring stuff, FireWire is good because it can move it faster. That's when that became popular. But then you see all the different iterations of FireWire that they put on MacBooks, depending on which one you bought, it had a different connection. When USB 3 came out, there was no point in having a FireWire. FireWire actually went away. Everything was USB 3. Then it went from 3 to, you've got 3.1, 3.2, The same thing may or may not happen with Thunderbolt. So why just spend all this extra money for something that you technically don't need, that may or may not end up becoming like FireWire?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
And then you still have people today, 2025, asking for FireWire. It's been dead for how many years now?
Yeah, and even now, you still have other companies like that make studio monitors adding FireWire into the monitors for controlling it at a distance, or even I think the Neumann NT 48 has FireWire as well, and that's it's still around. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, if you can find a FireWire card to put in a desktop, you can use it. But the problem is finding a card is going to be difficult. And if you find one because it's a legacy device, they're going to charge you more money for it. Then you have to worry about the software. Can you find the software to work for it? There's so many reasons why it doesn't make sense to try to hold on to something like that. So, for
Yeah.
example, if you have a Firewire interface that you just happen to like, I'm sure there's a USB version of that interface.
Oh,
A guy that I know that ordered a computer from us, he had a Firewire interface that he was holding on to for dear life. He had a MacBook, a trash can Mac, whatever that had FireWire. He was trying to use it until those devices he could not use them anymore, and he eventually ended up buying one of our devices, and he had to get a USB interface, and he's so much happier now. He didn't want to do it, but he's so much happier now with his USB interface.
oh yeah, I believe it.
You know.
I believe it.
You know, and I've even seen people that have gone from a Thunderbolt interface to a USB interface, and they're happier. People believe that it's faster. It's not faster. As far as audio is concerned, it's not faster. The difference is you can record more, but you got to understand that with USB 2.0 at studio standard quality, 24-bit 96K, you can record over 40 channels simultaneously. How many interfaces are on the market that will let you record over 40 channels simultaneously at that sample rate?
Yeah.
There's not a lot. So you don't need more than USB 2.0. Anyone that tells you, oh, we have a 3.0 or USB-C, it's faster, it's not.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's crazy how it works. And also I wanted to ask you, besides computers, what other projects are Creative Devices working on?
Besides computers, we don't have anything in the works besides computers. We are primarily focused on computers for creatives.
Okay.
Not to say that we might not get into something in the future, but as of now, we have nothing. We're not even thinking about it, honestly.
Have you ever thought about making phones and stuff like that?
Oof, the phone market is tough, and there's so many phones out there.
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably not.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
I've learned to never say never, but I don't see it, honestly.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
where would you see Creative Devices in the next 5 years?
Well, hopefully more people will know about us. And the goal is to just create brand awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let people know the Creative Devices exist. You can get a powerful device to help fulfill your creative ideas, and you don't have to spend $3,000 to $6,000 on something.
Yeah.
And hopefully in the next 5 years, more people will know about us and be able to take advantage of what we have to offer. Because that's what this was created for. This isn't one of those, oh, I'm going to make a computer company and I'm going to get rich. I'd be charging what everyone else was charging if that was the case. Because if you think about it, what other company offers what we offer as far as customability?
Yeah.
Who else is, some gaming computers might let you swap out RAM and SSDs, fine. Who else is giving you custom logos on your devices, on your accessories, on your merchandise? Who else is designing devices with higher power CPUs and making sure that everything works well together? We're not just putting together regular consumer devices here. Everything is designed specifically for creative use.
Yeah.
No one else is, you know what I mean? You're not going to get that for anywhere near the price.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's like a little icing on a cake, being able to add your own logo to your device, so you kind of brand yourself and stand out from the crowd a little bit. So I think that's a really great.
Right. And you've got some nice merch. The purple windbreaker rain jacket. That's
Man,
fire.
man, I got it nearby me. I ain't gonna lie, I had to lose a little bit of weight. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working on it. You know. But
Uh,
So I want to make sure when I put that jacket on right, you know what I'm saying, I'm
Okay.
in the right shape. You feel me? So
Okay.
yes, sir.
And you got the black hoodie too, with the
Yeah,
logo on the back. Yeah.
yeah. I had it. I would wear it right. I would wear it today, but I had it on yesterday at the gym, and
Okay.
yeah, it's it's
Nah,
it's the quality of that right there is much better than my other hoodies because it's thicker and everything. And yeah, I love
yeah.
that hoodie. It's my favorite hoodie.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure we gave good stuff. That's the whole point. And whatever we do, the quality has to be there, you know?
Yeah.
And we figured people want customizable items, but if you want to get something custom made, you're probably going to have to order like 500 to 1,000 of the same thing in order to rock it. Who wants to do that? There has to be a way for people to order one or just a few of whatever it is they want. And you know, we found a way and we allowed people to do it. You want just one hat, one jacket, one shirt, one whatever it is you want, put your logo on it or put your logo on everything, create your entire brand, so,
That's awesome.
but yeah, thank you. Whatever other people aren't allowing creatives to do is what we're trying to allow creatives to do. I
Yeah.
look at it from my own perspective and so does everyone else. What would we want? Why is no one doing this? Why is no one doing that? Well, can we make that happen?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Someone asked about, not someone, several people asked about a tablet a couple years back. We're like, a tablet?
That's what
Everyone
I'm
does
saying.
tablets.
That's another device besides a regular computer that
Yeah, it's like,
probably into.
it's like everyone does tablets. Why would we want a tablet? So we figured, all right, well, if we're going to do a tablet, we're going to do it differently from what everyone else is doing. And we did a tablet. We did one that had a 8-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte of storage, and it could do. You could put a SIM card in there, micro SD card, like everything. We maxed it out, the works. And a few people bought it. It was great, but it didn't sell that much because everyone was buying less, even cheaper tablets. And that tablet, for what it had, it was cheap. But people wanted something even cheaper. So we're like, all right, so we can still give you a powerful processor, just not that one, little less RAM, less internal storage, but we'll still make sure you can add micro SD cards to it. You still have your Type C, your headphone jack. You can still put your SIM card in there, all the stuff that, not everyone is doing in their tablet. And that's on our website, so we have a creative tablet. But what are you going to do with a tablet? Most people just use it to entertain themselves or give it to their kids or something like that. But some people actually use it to like control their drones or use it to control their software from afar, stuff like that. So whatever they use it for, I'm happy to be able to offer one.
Yeah.
You know?
That's unfortunate that it didn't do as well, but that's dope that you guys tried to do new things, though.
Yeah, we try to give people stuff. There was another, the rack mount PCs. Remember the rack mount PCs were big?
Yeah.
People were trying to bring them back, so people kept asking for rack mount PCs. We're like, we can do that, but in order to give you something like really powerful and flexible to be able to do anything you want with it, it can't be 1U. It has to be 4. Because if you want to use it for video as well as audio, you need enough space to put a monster GPU in there. So we had these 4U rack PCs, and again, they didn't do too well. So we were just like, we're just gonna have to focus on the minis because everyone's buying minis, but the minis that people are buying, they have these lower end processors. You can't do audio production for that. You can see a mini online, like, oh, a mini, that's cool, it's cheap, I'm going to buy that, and that's going to be my computer. Then you try to use it for music or whatever you want to do, and then you're stuck. You're like, well, I bought it because it was cheap, but now it can't perform the way I need it to. So that's why we put even more powerful processors in our mini, so you can use it for basically anything you want.
Yeah. And that right there is awesome for someone who wants to get even a more affordable computer. Uh, and if they already have like a monitor or a keyboard laying around or a mouse, you know what I'm saying, they can at least get started with spending less than like, $400-600. And yeah, you guys
Yeah,
have the option available for them.
yeah. And you were one of the first people to try out the Mini.
Oh, for real? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you were
Well,
one of the first
I'm
people.
definitely gonna do another video on it. Just uh, reminding people, of other options like of getting started around that price range. What could you get? So I'm definitely gonna do another video on that, as well as the laptops too, as well for 2025. Got to update the people. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean.
All right, awesome, awesome. But man, I'm looking forward to more videos from you, and I know you have some music. You have links for your music online too.
Pretty much on my YouTube. I'll be dropping it on my YouTube as far as like songs and stuff like that. As far as beats, uh, I kind of got out the game as far as like offering it to the public. Like if someone were to hit me up, I can make something work. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
be a little bit more exclusive like that. But as far as like the music part, all that's gonna be dropped on the channel. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, you heard it. Anyone wants a beat, hit them up. Make
Yes,
that
sir.
happen.
What
Yeah,
about you?
yeah.
Where the music coming out at?
Huh?
What about you? Where's the music coming out?
Oh man, listen. When I was at NAM, I was surrounded by so many musicians, and I'm a guitar player myself. And
Okay.
everyone was asking me about guitar, and I haven't played guitar in a while. I had to put it down because obviously doing something like this takes up so much time, right? So I hadn't played guitar in literally years.
Oh man,
And so my goal for this year is to start playing guitar again. So every now and then, when I wish I could do it every day, but I can't. But every now and then, when I get time, I pick it up and I'll just play around. Like while I'm watching something in between eating, I'll just play around, get my hands reacclimated to the thing, and hopefully before this year is over, I'll have some music coming.
that's awesome, man.
That's my goal.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to hear what you got, man. And if you ever pick up the guitar, let me know. You can make a beat or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. So hopefully within the next few months, I will have, shook the rust off, and I'll be back to where I used to be, or close enough, and I'll be able to play just about anything. So if you have any ideas that you hear something that sounds like it could use some guitar, send it my way.
Awesome. Sure. Sure.
All right. Listen, bro. Thank you for taking the time to do the podcast. I
No problem.
appreciate you. And again, I appreciate you for being one of the first people to check out our Mini. That's awesome. And everyone else that puts out something on the Mini now, they're probably going to be looking at you to see, what to do.
Man, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for believing in me to promote the company and giving me an opportunity. And I just gotta say thank you. So
Man, listen, you're very welcome. I always say us creative people have to stick together because if we don't look out for each other, who will? Right?
that
All right, bro. Thanks again, man. Take it easy.
no problem. You too.
All right.
All right.